Hello, everyone. Fixing my hair like I always do. Give me 1 second. I forgot my water. How's the sound, you guys, before I get going? Just want to make sure the sound is good. Perfect. Yay. Welcome to another episode of Untangled. Untangled episode 22. Happy to be here with you guys. Where is everybody from? Where are you guys joining from? Australia, Netherlands, Indianapolis, Norway. Amazing. Cambridge, Charlotte, North Carolina, Hungary, Colorado, upstate New York. I love upstate New York. It's gorgeous there. Belgium, Reno, British Columbia, Sweden. All right. The Ozarks. We know which show that's from. This light is really bothering me. What am I going to do? Very much bothering me right now. Hi, Israel and Spain. Okay. So just settling into the next episode. Thank you guys for being here and for being a part of Untangled, this series that I started about 3 months ago. And basically what I do in this series is I just talk as candidly as possible about my own personal experiences, my own personal journey of evolution, awakening, shifting, healing, transforming, everything that we are all going through. I share it right here. I am really frustrated with the light in my eyes right now. I wonder if I can do something about this. Hold on a second, you guys. It's really bothering me. I know. Not much better. Whatever. 22 on the 22nd on the 10/11. Powerful day. It's been a powerful day, powerful month, hasn't it? Been pretty powerful. So here's what I was thinking of doing. I haven't done this yet. We've done 22 episodes and I haven't done this, which is what I want to do this morning. I want to do a Q&A. I want to answer your guys' questions today. I want to talk about what is going on with you guys and what you're going through, and if you have any questions. Basically, you can just ask them on the chat, and I will just answer them for the next hour, and also add my own personal. Um, I'll add my own personal experiences to whatever questions are being asked, obviously. But I would love to connect more with you guys today, and see where the conversation goes. See, this light is just bugging the shit out of me. Oh my God. I swear to God. It's like I really want to just turn it off. Hold on a second. You guys are, I know you guys are, I'm just like annoying you, but I can't help it. I really can't help it. It's like I have OCD. I know you guys don't see anything disturbing. It's in my head. So let's go. Let's do some questions and answers. And I don't know what biocodification is, so I can't answer that question. Why do I feel like I can't trust anyone? I'm very suspicious about everyone's behavior now. One of the reasons that that starts to happen, or that you start to feel that way, is you start trusting your own intuitiveness more and more. And when we start trusting our own intuitiveness, hold on a second. When we start trusting our own intuitiveness more, we there's like this pendulum that starts to swing between how we would how we used to trust people. So you would trust people based on what they said and based on who they were in your life. Oh, this is my father, or this is my coworker, or this is my boss. And so there's this inherent need to trust them based on the role they play or how they show up in your life. And what starts to happen is that you start moving deeper into more of an energetic space with the world. And when you do that, you start trusting what you are energetically feeling over how the person is actually showing up. And then there becomes this dissonance at times, right? And you're starting to question the validity of how people are showing up for you. It's like that saying, a wolf in sheep's clothing. Just because they look a certain way, they sound a certain way, and they're doing things a certain way, doesn't necessarily mean that your response to them is going to mirror that, right? Your response to somebody that's so sweet and so kind and just so generous all the time may be like, something feels off, right? My resonance is telling me that there's something off here. And so that's what's starting to happen with a lot of us. So we want to be careful with the labels we use, and such as distrusting, because it may not be that people are dishonest. It just may be that your reaction and response, or I should say, response to people is going to start to change based on your energy, and you're going to start to follow and trust your energy. I just did a video about this yesterday. You're going to start to follow and trust the energy of how you feel around somebody. That's not necessarily going to make like logical sense, right? And that's a big shift for us, and it can be very challenging at times. Um, Hi, Lorie. I just finished the book today. The past life karma sections blew my mind. I thought I had to heal past karma and previous generational healing. Could you expand, please? Yeah, just briefly, because it can go very in depth. I think this was chapter 18 or 19 in the book, my book, The Divine Design. And and this is just one belief, okay? You don't have to hold this as your truth. None of us have to hold anybody's truths. But what came through in the book around healing your karmic past lives is quite simply, when your soul is an aspect of your spirit, just like your higher self is an aspect of your spirit or your consciousness. Your soul is the aspect of you that continues to choose the Akashic records, embodies the Akashic record, and drops into the human body to experience the Akashic record in the human journey. And what I was shown and told is that every single life that you choose to live on the planet holds a completely separate, distinct, and sovereign, unique Akashic record. And the only thing that needs to be healed in each lifetime is what was experienced in that physical body in that lifetime. Healing is clearing out energy from within the physical body. The only way that energy can get into your physical body is if you experience that energy in your physical world. The healing from past lives that people are talking about is related to DNA. It's as if they have to clear their DNA or heal their DNA. And what is actually occurring is that the DNA just holds memory. The DNA never needs to be healed. The DNA is holding a memory of a past life and a past life and a past life. Your soul holds the memories of all of these other past lives. And what happens as you awaken up into these other lifetimes is you start to feel those past lives as if it's in your body. It's not. It's in your soul. It's in your DNA. parts of your DNA, but it's not in your physical body to be healed so that your physical body can increase in frequency. And that's the very subtle but very important difference. But it is because we feel the past lives. For instance, if you were a witch and you were burned at the stake, then you're going to have this feeling in this lifetime of, oh my God, I can't speak because in a past life I was burned at the stake and I was persecuted, or my throat chakra is tight. There's nothing to heal because that lifetime didn't happen in this physical now lifetime in this physical body. So what are you actually healing? Again, healing is releasing energies stuck in the body. You would be trying to heal a memory. So you don't heal a memory. You simply acknowledge that you had this lifetime 700 years ago, 3,000 years ago, and wow, you can actually feel it in your body when you connect to it. And from that awareness, this idea that you are stuck in a past life that needs to be healed begins to just dissolve. It's just you connecting to movies or picking up a different book. In the divine design, the way they described it was, imagine you walk into a library, okay, and every single book, in the library is one of your lifetimes, but every single book is separate and unique. So when you pull a book out, you're reading that story, and then you put the book away, and then you pull out another book. Every lifetime is unique, it's distinct, it's separate. And the only thing that needs to be healed is what has physically been experienced in this lifetime that is held in the human body. Um, how can I release emotions that have been buried um, inside of me for 20 plus years? So, the whole idea of healing is that it's not something that you do or think about. It's something that's just naturally occurring. The moment that the human starts to grab this idea that I have to heal this. This has been in me for 20 years. My job is to make sure that this is healed. You're in a state of control. And now you're trying to do something from an egoic controlled state. And typically what that does is it creates suffering, it creates anxiety and stress, it creates judgments that you're going to start to have around the experience. Many of us have emotions that have been stored in our bodies for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. So what? The fastest way through your healing process, which to me is simply evolution, is to just show up in the now, right here, right now, and feel what comes up. And if there is an intensity of an emotion that comes up that you're familiar with, you simply allow yourself to observe it, and feel it, and recognize it. You stop trying to think about it as if there is something wrong, as if you have to change it. I was saying this yesterday, I think. The moment that you think that you have to fix or heal yourself is the moment that you're going to miss the opportunity of the healing. We have to reprogram ourselves. You have to reprogram trying to heal, in my opinion. The way that I have been doing all of my really deep, deep healing and transformational work is I simply am in awe and I am observing every day what I am feeling. And I am allowing myself to feel it. And then I am choosing from that state if I want to allow those emotions or those behaviors or those thoughts to continue to control me, i.e., dictate my life, my reality, or if I'm simply just going to watch them and say, I'm going to choose something different now. And then I'm going to choose something different now. But in that choosing of something different, I'm not forcing the traumas, the emotions, the thoughts, the behaviors. I'm not forcing them down or back. I'm just letting them be. I'm doing nothing with them. I'm befriending them. Do nothing with the emotions that have been stored in your body for 20 years. Do nothing but observe and feel. Watch what happens. Do nothing with it other than stop trying to judge yourself because you're not the emotion. There's nothing wrong with you. And quiet the thoughts that are going to tell you all of these things and all of these ways in which you have to do this and that and all these things that we're taught. And then as soon as you can do that, if you can actually do that, then you'll start to be able to choose new versions of yourself. You don't go in and try to find healing. You don't go in and try to heal. Pay attention to when you find yourself in a controlled state. That's the opposite of evolution and healing. Um, Hi, Lorie. Now that most defined spiritual practices no longer resonate, I'm experiencing a lot of death and dying anxiety. It feels like I lost my cushion, and the uncertainty from that is scaring me. Yes, it's a really beautiful question, Desiree, because what starts to happen as we evolve is we start letting go of many external tools, many external things that kept us afloat, that kept us believing that this was the way through. The scariest part, in my opinion, around this evolutionary process, I hate how you can see through that. So annoying. Um, the scariest part of the evolution for me is that it's all inside. So everything is going to continue to direct me back inside. And when I go back inside, it's very quiet. There aren't a lot of things to grab and hold on to. There aren't a lot of teachers that resonate perhaps. There aren't a lot of tools that make sense any longer. There aren't a lot of techniques that relieve the insecurities or the anxiety or the stress. The reason for that is because you are being called to let go of all the external ways in which we have learned to survive and float. We have to be able to learn how to float and survive from inside. And that phase of going from grabbing all of these external things to keep us alive and floating and breathing to simply being in here and trusting ourselves is very, very uncomfortable. It feels like one of the things that I've been saying lately is I feel like I'm continuing to jump off a building thinking I can fly, and I'm not flying yet. And then I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna jump off the building again. Maybe this time I'm gonna fly." And it's like, "Nope, you didn't fly." And there's anxiety because 'cause you're like, "I don't know why I keep wanting to jump off this building, but it's the only direction I have." So there's this, like, free falling feeling that you may be having, right? Where nothing really is making sense. You can't grab anything. You wish that you could grab things to make you feel better, but nothing's making you feel better. Um, right? And so it's this really strange feeling that a lot of us are going through, and it's a letting go. It's a letting go of all of the life vests that we have been holding on to, especially if you've been doing this for a while and you're in the spiritual community. You know, I'm not saying that there is anything wrong with using tools and techniques and people and teachers and groups and all of that for your own healing and your own benefit. What I am saying is that there will come a time when a lot of this will not resonate. You will be dropping all of these cords that you're holding on to. that you feel like you need in order to breathe. You feel like you need in order to survive. I mean, that truly is what sovereignty is all about, you guys. Sovereignty is standing beside all these other humans that are doing all of this amazing work with you, right? And surviving this human experience, this human evolution, this awakening process. But you're doing it from your own state of awareness. You're doing it from your own lens. You're doing it from your own resonance. You listen and you're like, nope, that resonates. Nope, that doesn't resonate, right? Let me see if that feels right inside. Nope, doesn't feel right inside. Let me see if I have tools inside of me that can get me through this emotional state that's been in my body for 20 years. Do I have what I need within me? Of course I do. And what is that? Oh, it's silence. It's freedom. It's trusting. It's surrendering. It's feeling. Oh, that's all you need? Yeah, that's all I need. Oh, I don't need to go out and nope. But you're going to be called to listen to certain people so that it can activate you. You're going to be called to read certain things because it activates you. It reminds you. This is all about a remembrance, right? And we need other humans to remind us. And you're here to remind other humans. This is a remembrance game. It's not a learning game. I don't believe that we're here to learn. We know all of this. I believe we're here to remember. Big difference. We didn't come down here. Lots of people call this a school of learning. I don't believe it's a school of learning. I believe it's a school of remembrance. And we chose to have certain experiences for the simple fact of having the experiences, not to learn something. And so we drop in and it's all about crossing your fingers if you're ever going to remember what you came here for. So there's a very powerful process right now that a lot of you are going through, which is this death, this death and rebirth. The death process may happen many times over and it may just happen once, but the death process, it really truly does feel like you're dying. You're dying to a world that no longer belongs to you. You're dying to versions of you that no longer fit. You're dying to ways in which you have showed up that just it's you can't even grab them anymore. It's very unique. It's very new what we're experiencing. Is there a reason for feeling or a feeling today that has prompted the Q&A format? It just came up. I was sitting in meditation and I just got the guidance to do the Q&A. I just follow what pops in. Um, I don't look into or focus on this kind of stuff much, but any idea why I have an idea around the 4D beings being negative? Also, why do we talk so much about 5D and skip over 4? It's a great question. Um, So there are a lot of fourth dimensional beings. I wouldn't consider them negative, right? Because negative is just the way that we would describe behaviors on this planet, right? So if fourth dimensional beings come onto the planet and they are taking over human bodies, would you consider that a positive or negative experience? We would consider that a negative experience, right? That's duality and polarity. So there are fourth dimensional beings that are very quote unquote negative in how they are being with the planet and humans. And so there's probably, Ariel, an awakening happening within you that remembers interacting with these beings at some other lifetime or in this lifetime. Maybe you're interacting with them in your dream state right now, because a lot of us are. Um, and so there's going to be more of an awakening around specifically, in my opinion, fourth dimensional beings that are still on the planet, that many of us call reptilians. They're still on the planet, and they're the ones that are really what we would consider the ones controlling all of this. We would call them the elites, right? They're actually fourth dimensional beings that are in human bodies, as hard as that is for us to conceptualize and understand. So it could just be a deeper awakening, Ariel, that you're having. With regards to the fourth dimensional field and why we don't talk about it much, it's because the fourth dimensional field is something that we pass through to get to the fifth dimensional field first. Why are we trying to get to the fifth dimensional field, or why is that some sort of like destination that we're talking about? Because millions of years ago, if you read the book, you'll remember, um, millions of years ago, millions and millions of years ago, when the Earth decided to have the experience that she's having right now, she was designed and created in a fifth dimensional field of existence of awareness for the sole purpose of evolving, ascending, shifting into the sixth and seventh dimensional field. And what you'll read in the book is that after millions of years, the Earth fell down into the third dimension. So there's a third dimension, fourth dimension, and fifth dimensional field of awareness that we are currently moving ourselves through. But the goal, so to speak, if you would even say that, even though it's not a goal, it's just this natural process, is to arrive all together in as a one human collective with the Earth back in that fifth dimensional field of awareness so that we can begin again where we started millions of years ago. The mind fuck, excuse my language. And so the fourth dimensional field is just sort of this dimension that we are passing through. And to me, the fourth dimension, a lot of us are in the fourth dimension right now. And the fourth dimension is where you are teetering back and forth between the very dense, dualistic, programmed, fear-based third dimensional realm full of evil and corruption, and victim mentality, all of that. And then the fifth dimensional realm, which is sovereignty, freedom, flow, presence, abundance, joy. And you're experiencing that regardless of what is going on the planet, right? So this is why it's so important when that woman asked that question about, feeling as if nothing in the spiritual realms are grabbing her anymore. It's because we have to master our own states of being. We have to be able to hold fifth dimensional states of awareness, okay, which is freedom. Let's just start with freedom. On a planet that is still holding third dimensional consciousness, control, manipulation, and greed, coercion, mind control. How are you going to hold freedom in your body when all of this is still playing out? I think there's this idea somehow, I don't know how people think this, but there's this idea that if we are able to hold ourselves in a fifth dimensional state of awareness, you will no longer see the greed. That's the opposite. The more that you stand in a fifth dimensional state of awareness and you hold that energy in your body, the more you're going to see this. This is why humanity is waking up into all of this evil and greed and all of this. We're starting to remember more and more, see more and more. Why? Because the consciousness on the planet is rising. And so as the consciousness on the planet rises, as your body raises its frequency, your awareness shifts. You start to see that which was in the dark. The brighter it becomes, the more you see that which was in the dark. So the more that we stand in this fifth dimensional state of awareness over and over, continuously practicing and practicing as we move through that fourth dimensional realm, the more you're going to see this. So you have to start to master your states of being. Can I be in a flow state when everything around me is trying to control me? Can I be in a state of abundance when everything around me is trying to convince me that I'm in lack? Can I find peace when everything around me is chaotic? This doesn't go away and then all of a sudden you're going to stand in some euphoric state on the planet. Everybody wants that, especially in the New Age community. They want to be able to somehow convince themselves that if they can just kind of close their eyes and hold themselves in love and peace and unicorns and whatever non-duality, that somehow this is just going to disappear. And all that's going to do is completely ignore what's actually occurring on the planet. So you're just putting blinders on. This is about becoming the master. of your state of being, not trying to convince yourself that things aren't happening because you're trying to create a reality that you only want to see. You have to see it all. And so the fourth dimensional realm is really, really, it's a powerful place and most of us are in it because we get to really practice seeing the third dimensional realm throughout our day and learning to hold fifth dimensional states of awareness. Does this make sense? So it's really important. It's really important, you guys. It's not about escaping, and that's why when I teach about trauma and healing, I mean, if you think about your own healing, we the most courageous thing we are doing and we can do is we literally have to stand in our own fires. That's why you feel like you're dying. We have to die in order to be reborn. We have to burn at the ashes in order to resurrect. We have to, because it shows us that there is nothing to be afraid of. If you're in this new age community that's all about love and light and positivity and all of that, right? Then you're going to force yourself so deeply to be in states that are denying the actual process of evolution. You're going to be constantly afraid. You're going to constantly be running from. You're going to be constantly trying to get somewhere. Moving into a fifth dimensional state isn't going anywhere. There's no destination. You're not trying to see in a completely new world. You're not trying to jump into a timeline. You're just being present because the third, the fourth, and the fifth dimensional fields are right here, right now. You don't have to go jump somewhere. You don't have to focus on something that you're going to. You simply pay attention to your own state of being, which is the only world that you live in. The only world you live in is your state of being. So, for instance, if you're in Iran right now and there's such a uh, like almost like a psychotic break in the feminine and the masculine, right? It's a dichotomy of power and suffering, uh, in, enslavement and freedom, right? And so, how are you going to be in that? Let's just say that you are in that country right now, right? Are you going to deny it? And are you going to say, "Oh no, I'm going to choose a different timeline. I'm going to choose a different timeline." There is no other timeline to choose than what you are currently experiencing. You don't choose a different timeline. You choose the way you want to be in that moment. How do you want to be in that? How do you want to show up in that? All this whole idea in the new age community of, oh, just focus on a different timeline and that's what's going to happen. What happens when that doesn't happen? You are attaching and connecting to a timeline that isn't currently right here. So you're already in a future. Everything already is. All these timelines already are. The fifth dimensional world is already here. The new world is already here. It's already done. It's complete. That's the quantum field. And the way you attain or reach any state is by being so present that it is the present moment that teaches you. It's the present moment that teaches you. Not trying to figure out where we're going or what we're going to do or how it's going to happen. How do you want to show up right here, right now? That's the only thing that matters. And it is essential to not believe. For instance, in Iran, you want to pay attention to how you are viewing what is occurring. What is occurring is a massive eruption of the feminine, of freedom. It's 5D consciousnesses that are arising. More of the feminine energy, divine feminine, freedom, sovereignty, um, stepping out of victimhood, stepping out of enslavement. Very much what the whole world went through the last 2.5 years, but it's much more intense. And so if you're looking at it as, "Oh my god, this is a massive evolutionary shift," the same way that I looked at the last 2.5 years, I didn't look at the last 2.5 years as, "Holy shit, we're screwed. This sucks." I looked at it as, "Oh my god, this is the evolution. Keep going. This is how we free ourselves. This is how we liberate ourselves. This is how we heal ourselves." Not, "Oh my god, this is getting worse. What are we going to do? They're going to destroy more and more." No. That's what you wanna pay attention to. You wanna stand in the storm and in the fire and in the chaos. You wanna stand in it so courageously and choose how you're viewing it. It's the choice of how you're viewing what you're in that shifts your reality, changes the frequency in your body and on the planet. That's how you wanna view everything that's occurring right now on the planet. That through the lens of, this is evolution. This is how an entire human collective moves into higher states of frequency. These women all around the world, not just in Iran, all around the world, and there are many countries where they still do not have voices, still are treated as second-class citizens, many, and not just women, humans, children, okay? How do you think that consciousness evolves? It has to erupt. It has to boil up and burst. It has to explode. Just like your own trauma. Think of your own trauma. How do you actually heal? Oh, I've got to actually see. I've got to actually recognize and acknowledge the deep, deep, deep shit within me that I don't want to see. Does that mean it's getting worse? No. It means you're starting to heal. So when you see everything unraveling on the planet, including this idea that there is an agenda where we are going to be controlled by the entire global elite. That is the evolutionary process. It is going to show us how we are in a controlled state. It's going to give us the ability to choose freedom. It's going to give us the ability to stand in sovereignty. If these things didn't happen, we would live in the illusion that we are free, and we're not. We would live in the illusion that we have control over our minds, and we do not. We would live in the illusion that we're sovereign, and we're not. We would live in this illusion that we're not programmed, and we are. So we have to see all of it. Now it becomes a choice of how you're going to stand in it. Does that make sense? Okay, what other questions? I went on a little bit of a tangent. It's the extended loneliness that's so difficult. Wondering if we will live the rest of our lives living like a monk immersed in this work. Molly, no, I do not believe that. I do not think that. But I do believe that currently in this transition that we're in, it can feel lonely, um, very lonely. And I want you to imagine that we're on a big field, right? Or a big arena, and there's like kind of like lines of soldiers. There's soldiers that are in a line, right? And there's like 700,000 lines of soldiers or men and women, children. And there's a small group, okay? This isn't saying that this is you're better than or worse than. This is just how evolution occurs. It's just the natural process of evolution. And so unfortunately, the human ego likes to, grab things and be like, "Oh my god, I'm going first. That must mean I'm so great." No, just this is just how evolution happens. It's a slow process, and there are always humans that are moving first into something new. Okay. So I want you to imagine Molly and everybody else that's feeling this deep, deep loneliness, like you don't belong, like nobody understands you, that you're walking around this planet just isolated and alone. I want you to imagine this, okay? Every single human body is in this arena, and we all are lined up in lines, and we're all moving into higher states of consciousness, also higher dimensional fields. Okay. And as you start to move into new states of being and new higher dimensional fields, okay, nobody's there. You're essentially moving into them first. And you look back, and the rest of humanity is coming, but they're coming along quite slowly. And then you look ahead and you're moving and you're like, I'm all by myself. There's no one here. This freaking sucks. I don't want to keep doing this. How long am I going to be standing here all alone? Now, there's hundreds of thousands of you, but because the planet is so large in terms of its size physically, okay, you may be in California and there may only be a handful of humans. I mean, there's way more than that. I'm just trying to give a description, okay? Don't take this verbatim, please. But it's hard because of how large the physical planet is and how many billions of humans are on it, the small percentage that are courageous enough to really start to step forward first into these new states, you look around and you feel completely alone. Okay. But there is an evolution happening. So there are more soldiers, men, women, children that are coming, quote unquote, behind you. Again, please, this is just the way that it's being described. People take this and they're like, that is so, egocentric and blah, blah, blah. And you're only thinking about yourself, and they twist it. But you get what I'm saying. Okay. There's a progression of evolution in the human collective. And no matter what, there are always going to be humans that are moving first into new ways. That's just how it works. And then other humans come, and then other humans come. It is inevitable that you will eventually be surrounded by more and more humans that see the world like you do. All right? They're going to see it the way you do. It's just a matter of quote unquote when, but it is inevitable. So I don't know if that kind of relieves or helps any sort of discomfort in what you're going through. Um, but if you can befriend the loneliness, sort of just invite it to be, um, it does and it will pass. Um, yes, the planet has already anchored into the fifth dimensional field. And I wrote this in my book. So back in 1987, there is this thing called the harmonic convergence. Okay. And the harmonic convergence is when Earth did two things. She held 50% of her light quotient. Okay. And when she is capable of holding 50% of her light quotient, I don't want to get too deep into this, but you can read about it in the book. But when she does that, then there is a natural wave-like progression of evolution or ascension where she cannot be pulled back down into lower frequencies or lower light quotients. She won't go back into a percentage. She's now smooth sailing. What also happened in 1987 during the harmonic convergence is that she anchored her body into the fifth dimensional field. Earth is already in a fifth dimensional field. The reason that humanity as one large collective consciousness is not there yet, we are in a past. Okay, we're sort of in the past catching up to Earth, is because there are 7 billion individual consciousnesses that have to shift together. Earth is just one. It's very easy for her. We are one collective. The whole collective is shifting. Think about that. That's why the last couple of years has been so challenging for so many of us, because we're like, come on, you guys, wake up, look around, make choice, be free, stop trying to be controlled, look at the programming, look at the manipulation, right? We're trying to get humans to step into these higher states of awareness. Because the more that humanity wakes up into the higher states, the faster humanity will anchor that cloud of collective into the fifth dimensional realm. I want you to imagine it like one big blob. Okay. So, yes, we start anchoring into the fifth dimensional realm, but there's still a huge blob that's in the fourth and third dimension. So, in order to anchor an entire human collective into the fifth dimensional realm, the entire human collective has to be anchored into it. That's going to take a very long time. Look around. Earth has already done it. So, she's now just holding this fifth dimensional state of awareness for all of humanity. Okay. While humanity keeps clearing out their shadow. So, this idea of uh, climate change, it's bullshit. All of it. This idea that we are destroying Earth is bullshit. It's not true. Now, physically, are we watching the destruction of Earth? Yes, but Earth has already cleaned herself. Earth is already, she's fine. We're going through a past. Very hard to conceptualize this. It's very hard to understand this. Um, but if we all kept this awareness of, oh my God, Earth is okay, Earth is fine, Earth's got this, there is no climate change, there is none of that. That's all a manipulative scheme to control us, all of it. There is massive weather manipulation, massive weather, and it's been going on since the 20s. Weather manipulation has been going on since the 1920s when they started to create the atomic bombs. All of that. It's nothing new, 2022, it's like, "Oh my god, there's weather manipulation." It's like, dude, it's been going on for 100 years. Sorry. The amount of manipulation that is going on behind the scenes that we can't see would blow our minds. The amount of evil that is behind, the governmental systems would blow your mind. Blow it. The things that our presidents are saying in front of our faces that they're I mean, our president, sorry to say this, but he literally said that he will destroy, the pipeline, um, the second pipeline, right? That Germany's controlling. He literally said it on TV, "I will just we will get rid of it." And then what just happened? The second pipeline burst in the ocean. Our president literally out of his mouth months ago said they will get rid of it if that's what they have to do. And then we're like, "Oh, I think Russia did it." But our president just said that he was going to do it. So these things are right in front of our faces now. They're going to continue to be right in front of our faces, but what happens is we have cognitive dissonance. We don't want to see that evil. We can't wrap our heads around it. We can't wrap our heads around the fact that the president of the United States would make a plan to destroy a pipeline that would do the amount of damage that it has done and is currently doing. We're going to blame it on somebody else. We do that all the time. Countries do that all the time. The United States does it all the time. So it's a crazy game out there that we're in. Do you intentionally choose to hold any beliefs in the now? I've come to find any belief, even a good one, has dark and light, and so maybe isn't worth choosing at all. Um, it's hard to say if I choose beliefs. I don't think, to be honest, I live in a state of awareness more than choosing a lot of times. So, um, some people would say that that would be a disempowered state, but for me, I'm always just sort of observing, like, "Oh, what belief is that? Oh, okay. What belief is that? Oh, okay." I'm not I'm not grabbing and choosing as much any longer. I'm just sort of observing a belief, and then I just kinda watch it like, "Oh, that's interesting." So, the beliefs and the thoughts don't have as much control over me anymore because I'm not giving it to them, I'm just watching. I don't ever really try to change my thoughts or beliefs. I swear to you, I don't. You if you've been watching me, you know that I'm dealing with, this belief of unworthiness. I'm actually not trying to necessarily change that into worthiness. I'm just paying attention to the unworthiness and the ways in which I'm convincing myself that I am unworthy. And then there's this subtle shift that happens through that awareness, um, where I start to embody worth. So it's a little bit challenge I don't know if this makes sense, but I'm not like, "I'm gonna choose worthiness. I am worthy. I never do that. I never do mantras. I never do I am worthy, I am worthy. That shit never resonated with me. I basically do the opposite. I let whatever it is that has been controlling me to just pop in, and I get real curious about it, and then I settle into it like, "Oh, wow, you're not gonna scare me. You're not gonna control me. I'm gonna let you be here." And then all the ways in which I have lived out or played out unworthiness will start to be shown to me. It's like, "Oh, wow, look at that piece and look at that piece and look at that piece." Even this morning, one of the things that came in is your followers, your subscribers, it needs to be growing faster and faster and faster. And if it's not, then there's an unworthiness around you. So being aware of that. Oh, wow, look at that. That's another way that I believe that I'm unworthy. Followers. That's the stupidest piece of bullshit game humanity has ever played in. So being aware of that, and just by being aware of that, it starts to dissolve. The awareness is the shift because then you become who you have always been, which is worthy. We are innately born unconditionally loved, seen, abundant, free, sovereign, in flow. Inherently, we are born into that. And then every day that we take a breath, every day that we open our eyes, we are programmed out of those states. So essentially, I don't need to choose worthiness. I am worthy. I'm inherently worthy. All I need to do is see all of the ways in which I have convinced myself throughout my life that I'm unworthy and let them burn. Can you address pretend, inauthentic, ego-driven light workers? I think it's a feeling you have to have, right? You're gonna start to resonate with certain people and not resonate. If you feel unsure about a new friendship, should we continue to pursue it or take that to mean that person isn't for us? I would I would play around with it, Chelsea, because sometimes there are lessons that are inside of that unsureness with friends. I've had a couple of friendships that in the beginning I was really unsure of, and I tiptoed around it. I put one foot in and then I pulled back, and I put one foot in and then I pulled back. And it was because there were things that I needed to learn or unlearn around how I showed up in the world and what I allowed in my life and who I allowed in my life. And so inherently, there's going to be either a really strong pull to move in a relationship or a friendship with somebody. And so you're going to navigate what may be unsure or what may be not okay. Don't treat me this way or don't do these things. This is what's okay for me, etc. or it's just gonna be like, "Not working. I'm done. There's no resonance anymore. I'm not it's too much energy," whatever that is, right? So you wanna play around with that. Just because there's something that comes up in the friendship doesn't mean you walk away from it. One of my dearest friends, one of my closest, dearest friends in all of my life, it was rocky at certain times, and the navigation of it was somewhat rocky, but it turned out to be such a beautiful, powerful friendship. So you don't necessarily throw the baby out with the bathwater, meaning just because it gets rocky or you're unsure doesn't mean you just turn around. There it's we like to do kind of black or white, so you want to maybe hold both. You know, how do you protect your energy in a draining environment? Um, you don't need to protect your energy. That's what sovereignty is. So, this idea that you have to protect your energy means that you are a victim to the energetic world. And I think this is really, really important. Just feel into this idea that I have to protect my energy, as if something outside of me is controlling my energy, is taking my energy. It's a very, victim state, and it's also a very unsovereign state. When we start to understand that there is nothing to protect ourselves from, that we are sovereign and safe, that we may not like what we feel certain times, we may not like being in certain environments, so I won't go there anymore. There may be certain people that you stand next to and it's just really, really wonky and weird, right? Or I was doing yoga the other day and this person was doing yoga next to me, and my God, it was so loud. It was uncomfortable. I could feel their energies. I could feel my energies. They were intertwining, and they were weaving, and it was so discombobulated. And it was like, but I didn't say to myself, I need to protect my energy. You have an energetic field around you. You don't need to protect yourself. You just need to understand energy, how it works, how you're experiencing it, that you're actually safe to feel very weird, uncomfortable energies, and how do you want to navigate it? All it is the intensification of feeling. And the more that you start feeling, the more the intensity of feeling increases in your body, you're going to have this belief that you have to protect yourself. You don't need to protect yourself, in my opinion. I've never felt like I needed to protect myself from anything or anyone or any energies. I am in control of, I should say, my body is in control of how it navigates the energies. Any advice for parents or children during this time? It's been a real struggle as parents and children in the world right now. Um, I mean, every situation is different. Every child is different, and every parent is different, and every parent child relationship is different. But if you think that you are losing your mind and going crazy, imagine the children. And many, many children are being born in an awakened state already, which can make it much more difficult to be on the planet. And then these children are being pushed into indoctrinated systems, medical systems, educational systems, family systems that are trying to program them. And so many kids are having a very difficult time figuring out their autonomy, who they are. I mean, it's a very, very transformative time in general for an entire human collective, much less a child that is in a stage where they are naturally transforming as well. They are learning their own autonomy, who they are. So imagine trying to figure out on a growth basis, right? Just the natural process of growing, that you're learning who you are. And then you're in an entire human collective that is transforming out of deep programming. And so you're like, what's going on? Who am I? Who am I not? What am I supposed to do? What am I not supposed to do? Right. And then you throw in social media, which is a blessing and a curse. For children, it's a curse. It's a really big curse. Um, so it's a really tumultuous time right now for children and adolescents. And if you're a parent, I always say this, I'm not a parent and I don't have children. But I always say this, the best thing that any parent can do right now is to listen and to ask questions, to try to put yourself in their shoes. Whatever your children and your adolescents are going through, you have no idea. You have never gone through it. The world they live in is more different than the world your parents were in when you were growing up. You can't possibly understand what they're experiencing. And how you lived and how you got through life is not how they're going to, not even close. And so if you're a parent trying to get your children to sort of see life and live life the way you do and you did, you're doing them a disservice. So in my opinion, the best thing that a parent can do is to try to empathize, as hard as that is, while you're still being the parent, and setting boundaries and rules or whatever you need to do, but listening and asking questions. Listening and asking questions. And the more that you can listen and ask questions without an agenda, your child will talk to you. The second your child or adolescent thinks that you have an agenda and that you want to change them, they will not tell you anything. The second they feel like you're actually just being curious, that you truly just want to know, they'll start opening up. And the more that your child or adolescent can open up to you, the easier it will be for them to go through this life. If they have to hide and suffocate what they're experiencing from their parents, then they're going to believe that they have to hide and suffocate everything that they're experiencing throughout their life. So how can you be a reflection of empathy and compassion while simultaneously being the parent, but letting them feel that they can be seen and heard no matter what? It's the greatest gift you can give your child or your adolescent, that they can be seen and heard no matter what. Because I guarantee you, most of us were not given that when we were growing up. Any ideas on how to talk about the ideas of programming to programmed friends? um, Sometimes the way I'll do it is I just drop it sort of subtly without trying to change them. You really don't want to try to change people. You want to get really, really clear on if you're trying to change someone or not. That's a deep, deep state of suffering. But if you have an awareness of like, that's a deep program, you could use humor around it, just sort of drop it and keep going on in the conversation. You just want to pay attention to not trying to change them and make them wrong. If you try to make somebody else wrong because they're living differently than you, um, you're going to be up against a lot more. My kids group isn't going anymore. All right, you guys, we have hit the hour mark, and this was a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing the Q&A. Um, it was new. Um, yeah, drop the word cabal, drop certain words, drop certain ideas, and just let it be. Just let it be. But thank you guys so much for joining me this morning for episode 22 of Untangled. I will see you next Tuesday, whatever date that's going to be. I guess it's probably the 18th somewhere. Yeah, the 18th at 9 a.m. California time. And also, one last thing I want to share with you guys, and I'll be speaking about this more and more as it gets closer, but I'm doing a an in-person and a virtual seminar in Sedona on November 4th, 5th, and 6th. And the in-person tickets are sold out, but we have virtual tickets available. And it's a really beautiful way. They're only $49 for all 3 days. And it's a really beautiful way to sit with us in the container that I'm going to be creating, and learn more or remember more of who we are and the Akashic record, clearing the Akashic record, soul contracts, releasing soul contracts, traumas, how traumas are processed, how to free yourself from these traumas, how to move into more of a flow state, how to let go of pain in the physical body. So many things. There's just, it's going to be really, really powerful, very, very activating. And it's 3 days. Um, so I'm really excited about that. And again, there's just virtual tickets left. It's only $49, and the link is down below in the section here in the description. It'd be great for you guys to join if you feel resonant, and you can join all over the world in your own house. Um, while I'm in Sedona, I'd love for you to join. And I will be in Europe in March of 2023 as well. So I'm going to be in Ireland, London, Netherlands, and Romania. So if you are in those countries, I will see you in person as well. Thank you so much for being here on the planet and also in another Untangled episode. Please pass this episode along if there's anyone that you think would benefit from hearing the information. Be gentle with yourself and be gentle with others. I love you. Mwah.